You determine how much masturbating you do.
You're ready to be premature all over again.
Wow, that's impressive.
Quick
bro.
reset.
Yeah.
Quick reset.
Yeah,
We're on our way. Promoted!
that's right. Licking gin balls.
It's just going to be a vicious cycle.
Who knew the job was pro bono?
I was so high that I shit myself at some point.
Just skip over.
I'm trying to contribute to the discussion.
Okay, still hear somebody, everybody mute, goddammit, you killing me.
Joke's on you. It's actually addictive.
There's nothing wrong with punching above your weight.
To play with you.
better.
I'm double fisting, actually. So
I thought that was on Friday nights.
Hey, let's go ahead and unwrap this present
So,
and let the debate begin.
I'd like to welcome everybody back to season 2 of A Spirited Debate. We are back. New season, new topic, same fantastic cast. If they can keep their shit together, we'll find out. I know we have a lot of people that listen, and I just want to say to all you mass debaters out there, get ready. This season should be a good one. Obviously, before we start, do as we always do. How is everybody doing today? Make sure you unmute, but how is everybody doing?
Hello.
Hello.
Oh,
There's
well,
one.
yeah. Glad to be here.
Good.
There's
Yeah.
2.
Beautiful day.
We're always just sitting here waiting to see what Mitch is going to bring.
Yeah, we got. I mean, you know.
You know, we're starting season 2. I thought we'd start it with more energy. Yeah. Hey-o.
I just
Yeah,
want to throw your decibels up and down. That's my goal here.
That's it.
exactly. Yeah, you like that. I saw Haas chuckle. Mass debaters. You like that? It's a mass of
did.
people. We all
I did.
okay. Yeah, you did.
I like to be a masturbator personally.
Yeah, you do.
I got a
did.
question for you, though. So it's been, one whole season,
Uh-huh.
and you every episode invite everybody in.
Yeah.
What are you inviting them into?
Into
Exactly.
the enter sanctum, behind the curtain, so they get to be a part of the process. If you're listening, you're a part of the process.
If you knew, you wouldn't have to ask.
Yeah.
I just wanted to hear him say it.
You determine your own level of involvement. That's how this works. You can be a casual listener.
You determine
Okay.
how much masturbating you do.
That's
right.
it.
In the virtual speakeasy that has been created.
There you go.
I like
And
it.
how much alcoholic lube you use.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
Burn.
as always, let's go ahead and start this season out the way we always do. And I'm just going to say it right now. All you mass debaters, please hit us up at spiriteddebates@gmail.com. Let us know what drinks you'd like us to try, topics you'd like us to debate. We said it from the outset a year ago. I'm saying it again. You go ahead and do that. We will try to invite you on the show, assuming your schedule works out. And if you have an opinion on a topic and you'd like to come here and debate it with us, feel free to hit us up and we will reach out to you and find a way to do that. So without further ado, let's jump into season 2. What are we drinking this time around? I'm curious to see. We will get into a number of things today, but first and foremost is always going to be the drinks. That's why we're here. It is a spirited debate for a reason. So let's go around the room. I will start first. I decided to pay homage to someone on the group who recently took a job as a chief margarita officer.
So
And
proud.
yeah. I mean, kudos to you, brother.
Still waiting for my first paycheck, sons of bitches.
There is nothing
I
wrong
guess
with
when you're self-employed, you
Yes.
you might be waiting a long time.
Who knew the job was pro bono?
That's right. That's right. It's like I said before, there's nothing wrong with punching above your weight. And I think you said that's almost impossible for you.
I was gonna say that's a really high punch.
But I decided to do a margarita. I thought about it, and I talked to you this week and, you told me what you were drinking. Then I thought about it and I was like, what do I want to drink? This isn't something I've done. It's been a while. And so I decided I'm going to pull out the trusty old margarita. And as a complete homage to you, I did not make my own sweet and sour mix. I went and bought it. I felt dirty doing it. I'm like, why am I spending money on this?
Did you walk to the store without shoes on too while you were doing that?
I did.
Uphill both
Maybe
ways.
maybe that's why you felt dirty. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna throw that
maybe.
out there.
And then, they got the little,
shame.
they got the little swipe cards. And right before I put my card in, I was like, lick the card, stick it in the reader. That way the next person has to deal with my germs.
Oh yeah, I know you
I'm
like
just-
sweet
I'm
and sour.
paying
Swipe
it
through your
forward.
prison wallet.
So I pulled out, obviously, I pulled out the fishbowl for this auspicious occasion. That's a great word, by the way. And I just did a margarita. I went with Correjo's margarita that I stole from Haas's family when we were there a few years ago. I still have some. Not sure how I still have some. Clearly, I don't drink it as much as some people on this show. But I had that tequila. threw in some triple sec and a little store-bought sweet and sour mix. Sorry. And shook it up, poured it in the fishbowl, and that's what I'm having as an homage to our Chief Margarita Officer, Big Mac. So that's what I'm doing for our first drink for season 2.
I'll approve.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, Haas, what about you? What are you drinking? Start of season 2.
Yeah, so I guess season 1 was all about bourbon and not the Boulevardier. So far, gin. Gin's been a theme lately, so we're gonna keep rolling with some gin. Today, I'm having a gin highball, which is gin of your
Holy
choice.
shit.
Yeah,
With
I
a side
almost
of
made
gin.
that.
yeah,
Did
that's
you?
cool.
I did. I was actually looking at that yesterday in the Cocktail Flow app.
Yeah, were you both in the, I knew it.
Yeah,
Both
yeah.
in the app.
Yeah, mine
Both
was in
licking
there. Yeah,
balls.
that's right. Licking
Okay.
gin balls.
Gin balls. Gotcha. All right, gin highball. Go ahead. What's
yeah,
in it?
yeah.
Gin
So
of your choice.
Yeah, gin of your choice. I chose Botanist, Agnostrous Bitters, and Ginger Ale. They're pretty easy.
Okay.
Pretty good.
I got to step back because I'm going to get punished for this. So I'm going to go ahead and pay it forward to you because it gets brought to my attention every time the word gets used. It is not Agnostra Bitters. It is Angostura. So please, for my sake,
Agnostra Bitters.
it is Angostura. I
From
got
here
told
on out.
that. I got told that. I went and looked at the
Angostura
label
bitters?
and I was like, oh my God, it is Angostura. Because I
It
did
is.
the same
You're right.
thing.
You're right.
Yeah.
It is Angostura. You're right.
Yeah,
From here
I
on
heard
out,
it
it's
pronounced
Agnostra.
once on like a YouTube video with the same video that was discussing the Demerara sugar,
Yes.
and I've just avoided saying the word since then because I
It's
just
just like
remember
bitters.
without it in front of me to like phonetically work through it. I
Right.
just don't remember it off the top of my head. So
I'm
yeah.
Yes.
fairly confident of the person that pointed out. So I would just say it's bitters,
Thank you.
regular bitters, plain
Regular
bitters.
Gotcha. I appreciate that. Okay. So gin highball. Gotcha. Gin of
With
your
not,
choice.
and it does not have Agnostra bitters in it.
No.
Just
no,
regular
absolutely
plain
not.
bitters.
Regular
Mhm.
bitters. Gotcha.
Yep.
Yummy. Gonna make it into the rotation.
Yes, good. Yeah.
Yeah,
These
it's-
gin drinks, when it's hot outside, they're like magic.
They work for you.
Yeah, they're like the unicorns of beverages. Yeah,
Sweet.
it's working.
Well, we're gonna discuss drinks here once we
Now-
start the episode. So, because I have a few things I'd like to say about that, but go ahead, Grinch.
Well, let me ask though: would you rather have gin to compensate for heat or air conditioning?
Oh, gin. Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Somewhere there's a limit to that. I think.
I disagree. I vehemently
Disagree.
decree.
Vehemently
Thank you.
decree.
It just
I
depends
appreciate
on how much
that.
gin you have, right?
That's right.
Here's what I'd say: you have enough beverages, you don't care, right? How hot it is. Plus,
Is that
you
what
didn't
I'm
say
saying?
I couldn't have an oscillating fan. So if I have
Oh,
gin
fair,
plus an
fair,
oscillating
okay.
fan, that's a win-win. Yeah.
Okay, fair.
I was going to say, having visited you in Vegas and going out at midnight and it's still like 109 degrees outside, no, there is a limit where
Yeah,
it doesn't matter how much drink.
I'm going
you
to say
have.
my current physical geographical location, yes,
Plays a part.
you're right. If I was back in Vegas, it's going to be air conditioning 100% of the time for sure.
But
Talking
you're
a lot
not,
of mad
so it
game for a
doesn't
man
matter.
sitting
Oh.
in front of a fan.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Gin highball and a margarita. All right. Big Mac, Chief Margarita Officer. What are you doing for our first episode?
Well, see, now that you've built it this way, I feel like I need to go punt and start all over again with a margarita.
Hmm. Too
Because that's not what I'm doing.
One of these, you say?
Yes, and that looks really, really good, by the way. So I stepped outside of the box a little bit to start us off here with season 2 and made some sangria. So just simply red wine, chopped up some apples, some strawberries, mixed it all together, a little bit of sugar in there. Again, on a hot day, it's a pretty darn good drink. So again, not necessarily, liquor, but still, an alcoholic beverage. So I put it forth to you to see if if it meets with your approval for a spirited debate.
Are you feminine by nature? Just asking for a friend?
No.
Okay. I was just because of, what you're drinking. That's
Hey, I like me some sangria now. That
I
goes
rest
down
my
a
case.
little too easy. There's no shame in my sangria game.
Well, there's
and I
no
will
shame in
say-
Haas's Friday nights either. So, I mean,
That-
That's true, but he's shameless. But
that might be true.
Sangria is another one of those, like, you can do so much to spin that base recipe. Whether it is
Right.
adding grandma, as Thor says, or just some of these other things you can put in it. But man, you get a good sangria, and yeah,
Nothing wrong with it.
That picture disappears before your eyes.
Really quick, and I imagine this one's going to. Yeah,
Well, I was just
but
giving
I
you shit.
did throw a little bit of triple sec in there just to give it a little bit of an
Okay.
orange flavor. So,
Did you make a pitcher, or is it just a glass?
oh no, it was a whole pitcher.
Oh, it was past tense, so it's no longer.
Well, no, it's half a pitcher now,
Okay. All right, cool.
and soon to potentially be an empty pitcher.
That's right. So we got a margarita, we got a gin highball, and some sangria, and we're going to close it out with Captain Grinchica, season 2, start of a new season.
Yes, sir.
What'd you bring to the table? Don't disappoint.
If
Non-alcoholic. No, I'm just kidding.
if you go to Patron's website, it's basically called a pineapple punch. I'm just not using Patron, but I was looking for some tequila recipes in it. I mean, the base recipe couldn't get any easier. It's Patron Silver by the recipe in pineapple juice. Now I still had some of that Avion Reposado, so I used that and pineapple juice, tossed in a lime wedge, and added a little Sprite just to touch it up with a little sweetness, and couldn't be easier.
Nice. All right. It's nice to see, everybody trying new things. And again, like I said, we'll discuss in our episode about drinks because I've got some things to cover on that. But before we start, obviously we say cheers, second season, second year.
Cheers.
We are going around the sun, and hopefully it's a good one. It's been a hell of a journey. Like I said, it's been a year. We started this a year ago, and it's been quite a journey for the last year. And so for you guys, I know, we've talked about this at length, like in terms of what I do for the show is neither here nor there. But because I do track a lot of the things, I thought for our mass debaters and you guys on the show, I would run down the list real quick and just throw out some stats that we've kind of accrued over the last year in terms of this show. When we talk about starting this show and what kind of impact and what kind of reach we might have, none of us knew. And so I just wanted to give you a few stats so that you guys were aware. We're a year on. And in that year, we have managed to turn out 65 episodes. So kudos to you guys for showing up week in, week out, sometimes multiple times to record those episodes. So 65 episodes. I went through and I cataloged all of our drinks. And if you take liquor and leagues out of the equation and any duplicate drinks, we are sitting at 120 plus drinks, original drinks that we have consumed on this show that you guys have brought to the table, researched, and we've tried, good or bad. We have created 4,194 plus minutes of content for our listeners to listen to. We are being listened to in 20 plus countries around the world, more than almost 40 states here in America. We've had close to 6,000 downloads and 81 dedicated followers. And I would like to challenge Mac because at the outset of this, he thought we'd have 4 followers. So I just want to point out that we are 20 times what you thought we'd have.
Hey, I'm okay with that.
I'm just saying. So that was just some of the stats that I've been tracking that I wanted to throw out there, because when we started this and when we talked about this, we had no preconceived notions about what we wanted to do, where we thought it might go. But I think the most important stat that isn't reflected here is, Haas, you've brought it to our attention a number of times. People that have been struggling and they listen to an episode and it helps. People that feel down or they're going through something and they listen to an episode and it makes them laugh, it makes them chuckle. Our banter, our butt plug jokes, harassing Grinch, doesn't matter what it is. So that, of course, for me is kind of the key stat. That it's like the Tim Tebow of our stats. It's all the things you can't define that people, when they listen to, obviously it's helping them on some level.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident we don't have God on our side, though, with some of our topics. So, we're not quite like
That's
Tim
probably
Tebow.
best. That's probably best.
I'm pretty
think
sure
the
he does
word
have God on his side.
I think the word you're looking for is intangibles, but yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I couldn't think of what it was called. So,
Incorrigibles?
Incorrigible. Yeah, that's
Right.
you, brother. I'd be
Horrible.
curious just to go around the room and just get y'all's feedback. Grinch, we did our kind of 50th episode. You were not here for that, unfortunately, so we didn't get your take, but I'd love to go around the room and just get everybody's take on the last year before we move into season 2. Just, the last year for you being on the show, recording 65 episodes, consuming drinks, all of those things, get your thoughts on it. So real quick, Haas, I'm going to start with you. I'd like to know your opinion on the last year.
It's gone by in a flash. I mean, it's been amazing fun getting together with you guys every week. And just, it's very organic what we do. Our friendships over the years and the way that we interact with each other, whether we've talked an hour before the podcast, or, haven't talked in a week or 2 weeks or whatever. It's just, it's like being able to go home every week. It's been amazing for my mental health personally, to be able to talk with you guys every week, especially during the lockdown phases of things. To be able to speak English with people is nice. And to be able to do it with people who, for the most part, speak it really well, up to including agnostrous bitters.
You fucking asshole.
Yeah, if you don't think that's staying, you're wrong. Yep.
I know how to bleep you out. It doesn't matter. Although here is beep bitters.
Yeah. Well, people will know. The listeners will know. It's planted. See, yeah, it's just been amazing. I mean, the camaraderie, and the brotherhood and the fellowship that we have between all of us, it just makes life so much more enriched and better. And to know more about you guys on a deeper level on some of these subject matters has also been immensely enjoyable as well. So for me, it's been an amazing year. I can't believe a year's gone by, quite frankly. And I can't believe how much ground we've covered. And I'm just super appreciative for all of it.
I agree. I wish that Mac had listened to most of the ground we covered in hindsight, but I know he still struggles with hearing his own voice. I think it's like butter. I'm not sure which problem is. That's just my opinion. That's, of course, informed by 32 years of knowing you. But it's like butter.
In your terms of saying it's like butter, you mean it's completely unhealthy for you, I assume, right?
Raises your cholesterol.
Raises your cholesterol.
Yeah, just like that. All right, so we're going to jump to you, Chief Margarita Officer. What about the last year, being on the show, not liking to listen to your voice? I know you have struggled with listening to the episodes after the fact, and that's fine. I don't ask you to do that, but I'd like to know your opinion of being on the show for the last year.
Look, I showed up for one reason today, and that's to say I'm fucking done. I can't take my voice anymore.
I appreciate that.
No, I mean, to Haas's point, I mean, this has been, especially during, the height of, COVID over the last year, this has been incredibly helpful, for my mental state, at least, to, this is as close to getting out and seeing everybody as we can get over the last year. Thankfully we were able to get together in November and see each other in person, but being able to do this week in and week out, and like Haas mentioned, learning more. I mean, we've known each other for going on 30 years, in some cases, but still learning more about each other, and being able to put up and tolerate with each other for that long. I've been incredibly happy to do this with you guys, and I look forward to doing it for hopefully, well, quite frankly, as long as people will continue to download the podcast and put up with our shit.
Well, that's a shame, because the only way you're going to be a part of it is to listen to it, because you just gave up your seat. So anybody at home, if you're listening, if you reach out to Spirited Debates, there's a seat available.
Auditions.
So just reach out.
Open auditions. I feel like Fancy Ace is just going to swoop in, and
That's right.
And I'm definitely on the outs now.
You never know.
As we see another screen pop up.
Hey, how you doing?
Funny you say
So,
that.
guys, I was just in the neighborhood.
Yeah. I've never understood why you don't like hearing your voice, but that's neither here nor there. You're entitled to your own opinion about yourself, even if it's wrong. All right, so let's move on to Captain Grinchika. What about you? Again, you were not here for the 50th, so you didn't get to, weigh in on that. So I'd love to know in terms of your position last year.
Yeah, I remember, I listened to that episode, and initially, I tucked away some things I was going to respond to since I wasn't there. But that's the fun of it. It's like an ongoing dialogue, whether you're there or not. And you do enjoy hearing what was said, if you're not there, which included the Euro Cup, where it was just you and Haas. That was kind of funny listening to you. But, and I would have said this on the 50th, and I still say it now, which is, Haas used the term organic, and I would say what I most enjoy about this is for anybody. I mean, I know a lot of people. I don't know what the demographics of this is, or who knows this versus who doesn't. But I would just tell anybody what you see or what you hear is what you get. I mean, there's no turning on characters. I mean, yeah, we're using some pseudonyms just for the sake of making it easier to have fun and be a little more casual in the conversation. But if we were in a living, well, I guess I'll say this: the feeling we've always tried to achieve, I think, which comes naturally, is like if you were just sitting in a living room or on the back porch and you had a drink and you started bantering around about an issue, which we did for years prior to starting the podcast. I think that's what's always been so enjoyable about this group is, to steal a quote from Ted Lasso, who I think stole it from Walt Whitman, which is, be curious and ask questions. I think we're all intellectually curious. We know we're delving into topics that are pretty deep, and we may or may not be doing justice to the topics, but it isn't for lack of trying and like an earnest effort. And we try, we all have biases, but we're trying to be objective about some of the topics and just give them an honest back and forth that frankly you can't always find everywhere else, especially if you get more than like two people on. You certainly can't find it in primetime news. And we kind of follow, what I enjoy is we kind of follow hunches and instincts and what pops up. Current events, we react in real time sometimes we have some things on our mind, and they're fun. I mean, frankly, it'd be kind of like if you had a group again, like you just every week you showed up and you just kind of kicked around some topics, and that was what brought you together.
Right.
And it's been fun. I appreciate you being the catalyst for this, and I look forward to many more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think one thing that you brought up there, it's important to mention, because when I was talking to some people I know about the podcast, and trying to explain it to them, one of the questions was, does anybody on the podcast, fuck you,
totally go off the rails when you're trying to be serious? And the answer is yes.
Yeah. Was, during the debates, does anybody take, kind of an opposing view that maybe they don't necessarily believe in just to stoke the debate? And I said, no. I said, we are who we are, right? And that's why, we have run across some of these podcasts where, all four of us are in complete agreement. There is very little debate. To your point, we still delve into, the depths of the topic, but, we all agree on it. But then we do go into some, where we do have differing opinions, and we do debate, but nobody's, going out of their way to try and create that debate. It just happens naturally.
I mean, I think there's a difference. And again, Haas and Grinch both saying organic is there's an organic nature to what we do. Yes, we will play devil's advocate to not incite, but to at least get other people to be thinking about a certain situation. But we don't fabricate a debate to push an agenda to create strife. We don't do that.
Unless it's, open carry.
Or collegiate compensation.
Well, and I think, a term used before is kind of like the Socratic method is like you sort of ask a leading question to see where you go with that, but it isn't with the intent of being antagonistic.
Right.
And we've said this numerous times. I mean, we have fun and we underpin everything with humor in our arguments, but I don't know that any of us are outright like, by God, I want to win today's argument. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if we win or lose. Like, it isn't changing the issue itself. It's just offering thoughts on the issue.
Right.
And yes, by virtue of being on Zoom and we're kind of dealing with some lag here and there, or we unintentionally step on each other's toes verbally. We do also want everybody to be able to finish their thought, which is a rarity because it's the old, I'm not listening, I'm just waiting for you to stop talking, right, that a lot of people suffer from. And
I'm listening to respond as opposed to listening to understand.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't mean to talk over you to make that point, but
we were already on the same page.
You did so.
Yeah. And Grinch, to your point, like coming on here every week and doing what we do, I think the interesting part about the four of us and doing this is it is not once a day we get on and record, but the dialogue that ends at the recording starts throughout the week because we're in contact during the week, we're texting, we're talking, and the dialogue is pretty much 24/7 on some level. We are constant communication. If a topic comes up and we're throwing articles back and forth and we're throwing things out there to think about, then we get to the show to record. That's where the conversation actually kind of comes together, but it occurs throughout the week. So it's not like we sit at home 6-7 days a week. We get on one time for an hour and a half, and that's it. Like this process is the entire week for us. Sometimes it's more involved, sometimes it's less involved, depending on the topic and the level of engagement. but it is an ongoing discourse that occurs throughout the week, which I also think is nice because we are constantly engaged.
And to further that point, I mean, I think it's worth mentioning, again, what you hear is what you get. I mean, we dialogue on text, but we're also dealing with jobs. We have families. We have animals that are barking in the background. Like, right. It's not like we're paid performers going under the lights with the makeup about to kick, you know, like that shit isn't happening. We're your average people getting stuck in traffic, getting frustrated by your day-to-day stuff as well, watching the news like everybody else, just average Joe kind of reactions. We're just trying to bring a different tone to how you discuss some of the topics that come up.
Right.
But and on the flip side, if somebody wants to pay us, you know, hey,
I will sit in hair and makeup.
Open.
I am not above
right
plugging any products.
Exactly.
And I think
I am not above
point,
plugging
it's the,
butt plugs.
It's the Wayne's World thing
set.
Where, you know,
that's right.
You know, he starts talking about Pepsi and then Doritos. So yeah,
right.
we have no pride.
That's it. You know, a few things like when we started this a year ago, and it is always going to be we. I know you guys will say, oh, you this and you that. No, it's always we. For me, this doesn't work as an individual. Like I can sit here and talk to a camera, but I wouldn't even listen to that. I'm not that interesting. So when we started this a year ago, I think
I'll debate you on that.
You'll debate me on what? That I'm not interesting enough
no, that you are interesting.
I mean, I can be more interesting.
Ooh.
A year ago when we started this, it was let's launch a podcast. Let's get together. Let's figure out if we can do it. And that was kind of what I threw out to you guys. Would you be a part of this? And you all unanimously were like, absolutely. All right. So how do you make it work? And like doing the research. And then it was, let's just see if we can launch an episode, get together, record an episode with no issues, edit it down to something usable, and then just put it out there and just see what happens. Like that was just number one. And then it was, let's try to generate a modest following. We didn't care if we were getting 10,000 downloads a month. That was never an issue. It was just us getting together, but let's just see what happens, make it organic and just find out if it even grows. And then the biggest thing I think for me was the format sustainable? Was four guys getting together to debate topics. And this was a discussion the four of us had before we started. This was, would we be able to come up with topics week in and week out that we could debate? Was it going to get stale? Was it going to get boring? I think we've proven over 65 episodes, that's not been the case. We have managed to find things. We have managed to mold things. We have managed to adjust accordingly to certain situations to make topics work. You know, and so obviously then it was, let's just kind of sprinkle in a few guests here and there. And we've done that. Now we've had duplicates, almost a dozen guests, but some of those have been duplicates. And then minor marketing effort, few things here on social media, nothing major, not really devoting a lot of time, but it was, could we start a podcast, make it sustainable and just track growth and just see what happened? That was all I wanted to do in the first year. I think with the stats that I threw out at the beginning, I've proven we can do that. 65 episodes, 40 states, 20 countries, almost 6,000 downloads. Now that's 6,000 total, right? No comparison. Joe Rogan's getting 250,000 views an episode. I get that. It's different. We are not on that level and not trying to be. But we have taken nothing and turned it into something viable in season one. That's all we wanted to do in season one. So now
and I kind of said tongue in cheek, you know, about having four listeners. I mean, you know, I think initially going into it, I mean, I knew, you know, obviously the three of you would listen.
Yeah, because you fucking lied because you don't listen. So how's it going to be four?
And we'd have some family and friends listen.
You're like, Dad, can you listen? Because I'm not gonna.
Because I'm not listening. That's right. Yeah. Papa Mac was my proxy there. So, yeah, it's been amazing to see, you know, like you said, you know, we haven't, you know, come up with Joe Rogan numbers, nor do we necessarily want to at this point. But I'm thoroughly impressed by the numbers that we do have. Certainly not what I expected.
Yeah. And I know it was tongue in cheek, and that's our way of just bantering and harassing each other about it. But it's like, I was surprised, like 81 followers. I didn't expect to have 81 followers. I think we joked at one point, it was like 17. I was like, okay, 17 people are following us. Now we're getting multiple listens. Obviously people are listening, even if they're not following, but you know, now we're at almost 100 dedicated followers. And it's like, I'll take that. I mean, it's small, it's small steps, it's baby steps. And that was a lot of the stuff that I read. It was one of the things was like, you're never going to come out of the gate and you're not going to have 10,000 downloads a month, unless, like you said, Grinch, you're a Chris Webber and you are in a position that affords you the ability
it's
to
name
do that.
recognition.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, I was thinking of like Smartless, which is Jason Bateman. The guy that plays Job on Arrested Development. He's been in a lot of other things. Will Arnett, and there's one other. I mean, they're obviously bringing 3 well-known names to the table. You feel like you know them because of their body of work, and then they're able to get your Zach Galifianakis, and that kind of thing. That was never our approach,
Right.
and we said from the beginning, immensely grateful for anybody that's listening, and we hope you feel kind of like
Part of the
comfortable.
family.
Yeah,
Yeah,
part of the family, comfortable. Like I
absolutely.
said, sitting in the living room, listen to us 4 knuckleheads, banter about. But I think we started from the beginning with the mentality of, even if it's just the 4 of us every week, we'd still do it because it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
And it's worth noting. I mean, there's no magic behind the scenes in the sense that there's nobody else. Like, it is a Zoom account, and you, Thor, doing all the editing.
It's very mom and pop. Yeah,
it's a cottage industry
At this point, as it should be, which my wife brought to my attention. She's like, if you guys want to take this to the next level, you need a business model. I'm like, okay.
We also need a social media manager.
That's right.
That failed miserably. Thanks, Flash.
Well, in the Flash's defense, she is working an internship right now, and I'm like, if I want her out of the house, that needs to be your focus. So I'm like,
yeah, because we weren't going to pay her shit. So
that's
fair
right.
enough.
That's right.
But
other than some pep talk of they're there doing great.
Yeah. But season one had its trials and tribulations. Again, we knew we wanted to get together, but one of those is that one of us is 6 hours ahead of everybody else. You're in Austria, Haas, and like, just coming to the table and going, can we do this? Well, now you've got to account for somebody who's 6 hours ahead, different time zone, and so it's like, okay, how do we make it work? And how do we make it gel, knowing we've got to fit around certain schedules? Grinch, like you said, everybody works, everybody's got families. They have been incredibly gracious, all the families, and I want to say thank you to all of them for affording you guys the time to come on every week,
100%.
set aside time to meet. Because that's also part of it. It's not just, yes, it's the 4 of us getting together and doing this, but it's the fact that they sacrifice going, okay, we're going to do this or that so that you can sit down and record week in and week out. That's huge. And again, we've always tried to make this so that if you guys have to step away, you do it. Like, yes, want you here every week, but if you can't be here, we understand. And the train rolls on and we try to make that happen. With that being said, I will go ahead and come to me in season 1. Being here with you guys, I know I reached out to you going, hey, I want to try this and just see. I have been immensely grateful to you 3 gentlemen, your families, all of our listeners, being able to come together and make this happen. It doesn't matter that I sit down week in and week out and record and edit. I don't care about any of that. I would do it either way. It doesn't matter. But using, if I have to take that on as the catalyst to make sure that this comes off every week, then I'll do that. I'm perfectly fine with that. But ultimately it was selfish in nature. And I said this plenty of times, was I just wanted to get together with you guys. Yes, COVID made that easy. We just get a Zoom account, we come on and record. Would I, moving forward, love to get us in person? Absolutely. And if we can that's one of the things on my checklist for season 2. If we can make that happen, I'd love to record one episode, just one, where we're in person.
I think it'd be funny too if we did an episode that was all about answering questions.
From listeners,
listeners,
because we're it's the old, when you're in the forest, it's hard to see other things. Like, we don't maybe see some of the blind spots or things that have come up and been mentioned, and we don't realize we didn't expound upon it. And we know each other, so like, we fill in those blanks, even if there's some unsaid there. I think it'd be funny to hear what random questions there were out there of, like, on episode whatever you said, what did you mean, kind of thing.
Oh, I'd love that. And again, we are constantly inviting our listeners in, and it's, we put out our email address and our website. It's like, hit us up, let us know, be a part of the process. Yes, it's the 4 of us, we talk, but I am more than happy to find a way to work with somebody on the outside if your schedule fits and you can come on and you can debate whatever topic you bring to the table. I don't think any of the 4 of us have a problem, bringing our opinion to whatever a topic is, if somebody brings it to the table.
Well,
You know,
it really
you
does
show
sound like my position's getting outsourced here.
Yeah,
Jeez.
you show up with a drink and get ready to debate. If you listen to the show, you know you just got to chime in or you're getting run over because
Yeah.
we have our opinions and we're going to make sure they get heard. Make sure yours gets heard as well.
And again, going back to that same kind of blind spots. I mean, you know, the topic of death penalty. Like, I'll be honest, I didn't think it would be that popular.
Me either.
When
It is
first
the
got mentioned.
most popular
and
episode
it
right
ended
now.
up being a really interesting discussion. So thank you for Dirty Sanchez,
Yes.
Marco Rubio Sanchez, for having sent that to us. You know, and there's some others like, you know, we kick around throughout the week, you know, everything from the funny ones of would you rathers to the, you know, can we do justice to a topic of like the wealth gap, you know? And I know there's another topic that's kind of in the queue, whether we get to it today or a future one that I think is a pretty heavy topic. And you know, like we said, we want to do the topic justice. And sometimes I think some of it's the mood as we're in the week of like, do we just need something lighthearted? Or do we really want to get kind of down in? I mean, like suicide was not an easy one, you know, for example, but it was worth discussing for sure.
Absolutely. And if I'm not mistaken, that actually helped somebody on this show, not on this show, but somebody listen to that episode and that helped them. And that's huge.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really, like I said, the intangible. Grinch, thank you for correcting me at the outset of this, but it's the intangible aspect that you don't take into account until somebody tells you, hey, I was listening and this is what was going on in my life and it helped. And it's like, okay, well then that was doesn't matter. That was worth getting on and recording and editing and posting and doing whatever has to be done.
Yeah. I mean, and even the guests, you know, whether it was Paul, whether it was Ace and Diana, whether it was Tyler, I mean, yes, some of us have some areas that might creep in to, you know, that like your knowledge level is a little higher, but in truth, most of us come into that just asking what your average person might ask, of like just trying to understand it from a general perspective, not like you're a 32-year, you know, veteran of theater, so talk to me about, you know, like we're literally listening, just asking what questions are coming to mind with some, you know, some that we've thought about ahead of time. I mean, obviously with Tyler, you know, we wanted to be respectful to kind of giving him a sense of what he was walking into. We knew like it took a little bit of courage on his part to go like, wait, what is this thing you guys are doing?
Right.
You know, no, we didn't really tell him ahead of time what the second topic was.
Hey, look, you should know by then. You've been on once.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So, you know, rolling everything out of season 1 and coming into season 2, just so you guys are aware, our listeners are aware. Our website has obviously had its issues in terms of being updated. It's almost a full-time job just updating the website. But when you figure we've put out 65 episodes, more than 120 drinks, and updating the website on a regular basis, like the way in which I set up the website initially, I didn't realize was going to be so problematic. And so I have been for the last 2 weeks revamping the website. And so all of our drinks will be available at the outset of season 2 when the website is live. All 120 plus drinks, and moving forward, any new drink, because I'm only listing new drinks on the website. It doesn't make sense, obviously, to duplicate. So they will be there, and I will be hopefully slow rolling the recipes and getting them updated. But if nothing else, all the drinks will be there. You can copy and paste the name of the drink. If you hear a drink you like, go to our website, copy and paste it. There's a comprehensive list. Go out to, you know, wherever, input the drink, and you'll find the recipe.
We highly recommend the Cock and Flow app.
Yes, we do.
The cock and balls in your mouth app. I don't know. They use it. Grinch and I do not. That's neither here nor there. But you
Mac
know,
and Haas sword fight at that app.
That's it.
Never cross the streams.
But I am updating the website. So at the outset of season 2, when this episode launches, the new website will be up. Have changed the look, the feel. I am, like I said, there's a comprehensive list of drinks. The other thing I wanted to do in season 2 is I'm adding a video component, and I want to make sure everybody here is okay with that. By your silence,
one? The
say
one?
At first,
because if I don't see Haas as a Viking, I just don't know.
I have to be honest. The cartoons that you made were freaking amazeballs.
Dude,
they were
them.
pretty fucking awesome.
I was in tears looking at that demo.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm a big fan of that too. That shit was amazing.
Yeah, I'm absolutely working on that one. But there is also another video component which you guys, I'm going to surprise you with when I roll that out. So be
awesome.
aware. But
it better be Mac. doing shots of Reaper.
It's a little
course.
butt tickle.
But I do want to add a video component in season 2. The other thing I want to do is kind of expand our guest interaction. So we've had guests, we have tried that, have them on, interview them, some multiple times. But I would also like to, enlist the help of you gentlemen. If you know somebody that you want to bring on, if there's somebody out there in some field that you think would be beneficial to bring it on the show, please, reach out to them or let me know. I'll reach out to them. Doesn't matter how we do it, but I'd love to expand kind of our guest repertoire in season 2, get more people on here.
I do, but she won't return my calls. So Scarlett, if you're listening, call me. Call me.
My agent will call your agent. You asked Grinch.
I think due to the restraining order,
I was thinking. I see a restraining order in our future here.
It's like electronic distance. I don't know if that's measured in the same.
That's true.
Okay. Grinch,
it's
you
no
asked
physical contact or presence.
Commercials. We are going to start rolling out the commercials again. I have some in the works that I want to put together and do. So we will be having that. And again, if there is a company out there and someone listens and you work somewhere and you're like, oh, I think that, we should advertise with these guys, please reach out to us. I will absolutely make sure that happens.
What's the best way for them to reach out to us?
That would be a spirited debates at gmail.com. And in case you didn't hear that, it's spirited debates. I can spell it for you if needed at gmail.com. You think that works?
If you would.
Think that guy?
So you think it's
Can you
spirited
spell Gmail?
debates, plural?
Spirited debates at
.com.
gmail.com. Yes.
Okay.
So no, please reach out to us. Absolutely. Hey, if you reach out to us through social media, we will find it, do it, and we will figure out how to make that work. But I want to add commercials in. The other thing I'm going to do this season is I definitely want to focus more on the marketing aspect. Yes, I had hoped to have somebody do that for us. I will just take that on my shoulders and do it myself. But I do want to add that back in and make sure that we are doing that. The other things I'd love to do, I already mentioned, I'd love to try at least one episode in person. Now, Haas, I know you're going to be back in the States. If there's a way to make that happen, I want to try to do it while the 4 of us are sitting in a room together, looking at each other so that, you can reach across and slap somebody while we're talking, whatever it is. I would love to try to do that if that's feasible. The other thing I'd like to do is I would love to try a live stream version of this and do it live, post it live. Again, that puts us in a different position in terms of the video aspect and lifting the veil in terms of, going out and actually putting a face
to look
to
at
the
our
name.
ugly mugs.
Can't blur the bitters.
Right. Max,
or beat the blitters.
Max,
I can't even speak. Jesus Christ.
Mac, you don't like hearing yourself. Are you okay looking at yourself?
Oh no, I'm fucking ugly.
Oh, I'm trying to help, man.
Like we said, too ugly for TV.
That's right. I got a voice for
radio.
And then finally, the other thing on my list is I want to, Haas, you brought this to the table, that the merchandise, that, can we generate buzz with merchandise as he swallows that last swill of sangria? I started researching.
Can we not call it swill, please? It was very fucking good. Thank you very much.
As he gargled
sangria.
I recall what happened last time somebody tried to gargle some bourbon.
Yeah. It didn't end well.
It didn't go well.
As you talked about merchandise, like having merchandise available for listeners. That's something I would love to look into and try to do as we move forward in season 2. So those are just some of the things on my list, but I'd love to know if you guys have anything that you want to add to the list in terms of things you'd like to accomplish in season 2.
Can others download off the website or otherwise the home screen you created for either the PC or Android or iOS?
I can create those to the proper dimensions if they would like to. Do they want it? I would have to Google.
It's just a question. Like if you went to the website and wanted to download it,
make them fairly generic, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
images,
iOS, Android, and Grinch, you mentioned PC, but I've yet to see my new PC updated screensaver or background.
That's because I would have to, I'd have to set it up to the proper dimensions. That's what I was going to ask. I don't own an Android.
You can make them generic, and then they'll, people can scale them to fit their phone.
Yeah. I created a new one, which I would have to send out. It starts out as this because I was hoping it would be a video. I shared it with Mac. I was hoping it would be a video. Because it's set as a video, but when you touch it, it actually does an animation, and then a spirited debate comes up in the middle.
And for everybody that's listening,
it's his phone.
screw you guys. You don't get a look at this because
Yeah, sorry.
Really cool
But
though.
it's so cool.
Sorry.
So
yeah,
cool.
it looks
Very
really
cool.
cool. We'll get something on the website soon for you to see what we're talking
But the
about.
joke's on you. It's actually a dick pic.
I thought that's what you guys were asking for.
That-
Wait,
yes,
I'm confused.
yes.
It's a ball pick.
So I gotta say, Thor, a lot of the things you suggest, several of them were things I had thought about. Like, I'm really glad that you're talking about doing the video characters because I thought that shit was hilarious. The merchandising, yeah, I've been asked numerous times whether or not we had anything that people would use to help kind of prop us up and proselytize the show, so we can get it out there. So yeah, I think it's a lot of great benchmarks and
Okay.
ideas that you have for season 2 personally.
Hold on real quick.
And
So
I'll take that same idea if I can and just spin it a little bit. And I'm not going to say. I'm just going to say spin it a little bit, which is or riff off of it. How about that? Which
you're
is
going to rip it off. Okay.
whether it is input, helping, whatever. I think what we always appreciate is if whatever helps make us better. We don't want to stay stagnant. We want to evolve as we go along, whatever form that takes. And if that is, we get some great input. We get some new guests, even people we don't even know. Because
Right.
I mean, some of the guests, obviously, some we have a long history with. Some, we're kind of taking at face value. And we didn't even frankly know how it would go. And it turned out really well. But in the spirit of what we try to do, regardless of the perspective you bring, what I would hope you would know is if you came to the table, unless you're just an outright lunatic, we're going to try to have a good conversation with you about whatever the topic is.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Those things, if we can get people on, absolutely love to expand that. And, we're willing to discuss anything that they bring to the table. Real quick, though, I wanted to get to this because I said it back in the beginning, was drinks. Haas, you mentioned it, gin. And if you go back, because I have cataloged all of the drinks, and so I went through the episodes and I was listening, and you look at the arc that you've taken on your drinks, it has been probably the most interesting in the group. Because if you listen to the first couple episodes, it's Crown and Ginger, it's vodka and Red Bull, it's rum and Sprite. You know what I'm saying? And then it doesn't take long, but your drinks just become more and more interesting as you go along. Yes, you do stumble across some where you're like, that's fucking garbage. No, that doesn't work. And it has been interesting because you've always been, for the longest time, you've always been a Crown guy. And yes, you like your bourbon. But now it is like you have expanded for me on the show in this group, like going from Crown, and then it was rum, and then it's gin. Like I would never have thought that you'd be drinking gin. And it's interesting where you're like, oh, gin, man, it's like a summer drink and it's so refreshing. And I'm like, the way you started with your Crown and Ginger and your fucking Captain Morgan and Sprites to where you are now has been phenomenal to watch. And of course, I know this because I've gone through and cataloged all the drinks. So I know what everybody has drunk on the show. So
Yes,
I just wanted to say that.
It's odd for me too. Yeah, and totally unexpected. I mean, I really leaned on you guys a lot. I know when we started this, all of you had very different palates than I had and different experiences with spirits than I'd had. Because for, I don't know, a decade and a half, 2 decades, it's all been about Crown and Ginger.
Or Tito's vodka and some soda.
Yeah. Right. Or Tito's, yeah. Yeah, that's a good call.
I think I can even remember the episode where like you did transition and you said like I needed to up my game. So
you all are high pollutant tootin'.
Yeah, I think I remember that actually.
Yep.
Yeah, and I will say that I've spent a healthy budget in the first year on building what I think if you guys showed up and knocked on my door, if one of you showed up, I would have a nice enough bar to where you would be able to come in and have a beverage of your choice and feel welcome in my home. Whereas I don't know if I could have said that a year ago.
Look,
that warms my heart.
I could have a PBR and I'd feel welcome in your home.
Well, thanks.
I did buy Crown yesterday, and I definitely thought of you, Haas. I definitely did.
Which is weird because so the Crown Royal Monarch, which is like their 50th edition or 75th edition that they pulled out, that stuff sells like pretty expensive in the U.S. And I had a couple of cases of it, and I loved it. And I found it over here, and I bought a couple bottles. I haven't even opened it.
You've
and I don't
moved beyond
collect.
that.
I don't collect booze like some people do. I buy it to enjoy it. So it's weird that you say that because I haven't really thought about Crown Royal much. I don't know, in months, and I'm curious to see where this adventure takes us. Because here's what I would say: the drinks that Grinch makes that sound like desserts. Like I'm so jealous of those drinks because a lot of that stuff I can't find here. So I'm really waiting the next time we can meet up at Grinch's house so that we can have dessert drinks because they just sound like just so decadent and
Well,
amazing.
I'm outsourcing from here on, just so you know.
Yeah.
The cinnamon
So-
roll
Are
cocktail.
we
I-
bringing in the fancy crew?
You're damn right. You're damn right. I've been spoiled.
I'll be honest. That's been an interesting addition. Knowing that, like, I've gone out to the website, they've gone out to Fancy Sips and been like, "What do they have?
Right.
Let me look. What would I like
I mean,
to
at the end of
make?"
the day, sometimes I just need a freaking idea to get started with.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I'm all for suggestions. Because I mean, there are times I'm like, I don't know. Like,
That's the other part that I've loved about the show. Is like, yeah, we've come in week in and week out picking a drink, but then we've had weeks where one person picks for the group, or we pick for somebody else in the group, or we pick one drink and we all try it and taste it and we give our feedback. Like, it hasn't just been the same thing. We have tried to find a way to break it up to go, okay, how can we do drinks in a different way? You know, so Grinch will go, oh, let's all try a Corona Sunrise, and we do it. You know, or the Cafe L'Orange, or we go, you know, Grinch and Haas, they're going to pick for each other. Mac and I are going to pick for each other. And it's interesting because now you've got somebody else kind of dictating your taste and going, okay. And you're surprised sometimes you try it and you're like, I actually like that. That's not something I would have picked for myself.
Because I was thinking about this the other day. What we need to do to up our game in this area is we need to pull out the Spirited Debate Wheel of Death, and we need to have 4 drinks on there, and then we'll spin it. And then we'll spin for someone's name.
We could
definitely do that.
Well, and
I'm
that
all about
reminds me
trying
of-
new shit.
You know, I know Mackie wrote in the chat like favorite episodes, and I don't know if there's any one episode more like moments in episodes, because like when we all coordinated to have the Boulevardier.
I think that was for Haas's birthday, right? Yeah, that was great.
The look on your face as we each went in turn, because we sort of, you know, played coy with our lead into the drink, and then you were just like the look on your face of like, you motherfucker.
Right.
And then of course Max Reaper shots.
Classics.
Yeah.
And
We might
who-
be able to do some video of the Reaper shots.
And
Oh,
who
I
can
think we need to.
forget the social media debate?
That was the first bite. That was the secret killer. The first time the Boulevardier shows and rears its ugly head.
Rears its ugly head.
Fantastic.
Poor decision making that day on my part.
But I gotta say, on top of all this, I mean, my favorite episode is me winning, you know, last season's championship, of course. And
Liquor and
I'm
leagues.
stoked to win that motherfucker.
You know what they say?
again.
You know what Dad's always said? Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and
Oh,
then.
I thought he said you got to play people better than you to get.
Well, you
better.
Yes,
do.
you-
You do.
That's right.
So who are you going to play?
Which
'Cause
is-
we're
which is
just
why
waiting
I
on
ain't
it.
playing.
There's nobody here.
Yeah, damn it, I'm gonna get worse.
But let me go ahead and throw it out there for our listeners. If you haven't listened, episode 26, Walking the Boulevardier of Friendship. That's the episode where the three of us pull out the Boulevardier. What was funny about that episode is when we got to Haas's drink, he said, that's interesting because I too am drinking the Boulevardier. And all of us were like, oh, that's fucking fan. And then, of course, he was like, no, I'm just kidding. I was like, that would have been great. But yeah, that definitely a classic right there. Anyone where the Boulevardier has been interested. Look, it has been kind of the bane of our existence for season 1. And it has made a number of appearances.
Yeah.
And has been worthwhile every time it does. It bit Haas in the ass in that episode. It bit Mac in the ass when he drank it. I actually had it the night. My first time having it was the night that the fancy DeGarmos were on the first time around for Neon Lights. When Ace and Diana were
Lights
on.
are bright on Broadway.
That's it. That was the first time I tried it. So yeah, the Boulevardier, I think, you know, you keep it there, you pull it out when needed. It definitely has a special place in season 1. Maybe there will be a drink in season 2. Haas might stumble on it. Grinch might stumble on it. Hell, I might find it. But I'm hoping that happens as we continue to kind of expand our repertoire of drinks and just see if there's another Boulevardier type drink out there.
Because Haas, you survived, and it wasn't intentional as a sabotage, but it had a high alcohol content. The Caribou Lou,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was when we were picking drinks.
because that was
Yeah,
what
that was-
Bacardi 151.
Yeah, and that was tasty actually.
It's like Bacardi 151, Malibu, and pineapple juice. That's a
Yeah.
stout drink.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Sounds
very
sounds
tasty.
very similar to D's Nuts.
Alcohol with
Oh,
alcohol with
still
alcohol.
tasty.
And so was the drink.
Made famous by Tech Nine.
Yes, right. Look, and that's been the interesting part about this entire series too. Is it's like, Mac, you've started out trying a lot of drinks, but I think you've solidified kind of your love of a specific spirit through the course of the first 65 episodes, and that's tequila. And the margarita has been kind of your go-to.
And
It's
different,
kind of-
yeah. I had to kind of tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, but you're safe haven.
We tried to add the mezcal. I think we all realized that doesn't go well.
Exactly.
Something
You know,
about a
with anything-
Band-Aid inside a dirty sock.
It's like a dirty sock rubbed in dirt.
Walking through the TSA.
Exactly. And
So-
look, we can look at the first 65 episodes in season 1, and we can talk about all the different drinks we have. We can talk about all the different topics we had. Doesn't matter what you choose to focus on. The first season was absolutely outstanding, and I'm hoping season 2 is going to be more of the same. Want to definitely push out some of these topics, Haas, that you've been holding in your back pocket. Anything that anybody brings to the table. Love to do some more gaming ones. Love to have some more guests. Whatever it is, we're always trying to make the show better, and we do a fair amount between the 4 of us. But as usual, it definitely helps when our guests get involved, and the easiest way for them to do that is spiriteddebates@gmail.com. So if you want to drop us a line, feel free to do it, and if we can have you on the show, we will. And I think that's like the 4th time I've dropped that, or 5th time
Yeah.
I've dropped that. So
Otherwise,
hopefully-
you're just gonna have to listen to our asses for another season. So
and nobody likes listening to Mac, so do yourself a favor. There's a free
Not even
seat.
Mac.
right, not even Mac.
Audition. Look, you may come on the show and we'd be like, you fucking just hit it out of the park. We'd like to add you as a permanent addition. We've got a free seat available. I mean, you can't get rid
Which
of
is
me. I
Max.
got to edit.
Right?
No, I'm just saying.
But we
Yeah.
can't have you like in some crazy ass time zone where we got to be at like midnight.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't ever intend. Haas, you said it at the Euro episode. Like, I don't ever intend to miss an episode because I try not to allow my personal life to interfere with doing this with you guys. And so it's like, will it happen? Maybe. don't
Damn, I
know.
think 3 of us just got called the fuck out. Jeez.
I said this at the outset that I didn't want this to.
There could be 3 open seats.
Yeah.
So.
In fairness.
That's true. Look, Haas already said
One
I
of
can
us
talk
was
to a
in
camera.
Yeah, one of us was in Budapest.
That's right.
One of us was in Mexico, and I was celebrating a 20th anniversary. So
I know I don't go anywhere. That's fine. I'm okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm good with it. But yeah, definitely hoping to ramp up season 2. At the end of the day, I love doing this with you guys, and I do appreciate y'all being on here and taking this journey together. Who knows where season 2 will take us? Probably another 65 episodes. Definitely we'll be doing another Liquor and Leagues. You have to defend your title, Grinch,
Mhm.
if you can.
Oh, I look forward to it.
Defend
can.
my
Oh, I look forward to it.
I've already been asked, which is
for you, bro.
interesting, because this is a year down the road, but I've already been asked, are we going to do a Liquor and Leagues for the World Cup, which will be in December of next year,
Of course we will.
Yes.
Absolutely.
which means we're going to have a season 3. Anybody listening, we're going to have a season 3. It's already being greenlit.
Yeah.
So-
Sorry.
So please pay attention.
We got renewed.
That's it. They picked us up yet again.
That
You
should
didn't do
be
the
intro.
financial
That should have been
cost.
intro
Out of
for season
curiosity.
2.
Who renewed us?
Yeah,
Thor?
that's right.
Thor.
I did. But
We hear the spouses in the background. What?
wait, what are we doing?
What did you say?
Yeah, I have thoroughly enjoyed this and trying to. I don't care about investing the time and the effort. That doesn't matter to me. I love what I do and I love hanging out with you guys, and that's the important part. And ultimately, at the end of the day, if we're helping anybody by listening, that's all I care about. So with that being said, please join us week in and week out. Obviously, you can catch our episodes anywhere where you get your podcast: Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. I don't care. It doesn't matter. As long as you're listening, that's all we care about. And again, feel free to interject. Feel free to be a part of the show. Go to our website at aspiriteddebate.com. Check out our email at spiriteddebates@gmail.com. Drop us a line. Hit us with a drink. Hit us with a topic. Let us know. We'll reach out to you, see if we can get you on the show. And as always, gentlemen, we close out the show.
Salud.
Bye-bye.
Prost.
Cheers.